You know, there's this kind of internet magic that you use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. Today, we're going to break down exactly what an API is, and we'll do it so simply you'll be able to explain it to anyone.
Okay, so let's start with a question, right? Have you ever wondered how your weather app actually knows the forecast? Or how a travel site can pull up flights from a dozen different airlines all at once in just a few seconds? Well, the answer to both is the same powerful, invisible tool.
So how does it all work? It really does feel like magic, but behind the scenes, it's actually a super clever and really organized system. Let's dive in.
You see, the real secret is that all these different programs, even if they're made by totally different companies, have this special agreement on how to talk to each other. It's like they've all agreed to speak the same language when they need to ask for or share information. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we're going to forget about computers entirely for a second. The absolute best way to understand an API is to think about ordering food at a restaurant.
All right, so picture this. You're the customer. You're sitting at the table. You're hungry. You want something. In the tech world, that's you, opening up an app because you need some info or you want to do something.
And the kitchen, that's where all the good stuff is, right? The food, the ingredients, the chefs who know how to put it all together. This is a perfect stand-in for a big server or a database, which is just packed with all that valuable information we want, like weather data or flight schedules, you name it.
But here's the thing, and it's a really important rule. You can't just waltz into the kitchen yourself. It would be total chaos, right? Imagine every customer running back there. It's just not safe or efficient. And it's the same with data. You can't just go directly to the source.
So you need a go-between, a messenger, someone who knows exactly how to talk to you and how to talk to the kitchen. You need a waiter.
Just think about how that works. You get a menu, that's a list of everything you're allowed to order. You tell the waiter what you want, they take that specific order to the kitchen, and what comes back? Exactly what you asked for. Not the entire pantry, not the chef, just your meal.
All right, now that we've got that picture of the restaurant in our heads, let's connect it all back to the tech we use every single day. And boom, check this out. It lines up perfectly. Your app is you, the customer. The server with all the data, that's the kitchen. And the waiter, that crucial messenger running back and forth, that, my friends, is the API.
Yep, that's the big takeaway. The waiter is the API. It's not the kitchen itself, and it's not you, the customer. It's that critical communication layer that sits right in the middle, just taking requests and bringing back answers.
So now that you know about this waiter, you're going to start seeing them everywhere. Seriously, let's look at some places you probably ran into an API just today.
Every single one of these things, checking the weather, logging into a site with your Facebook or Google account, even seeing a YouTube video playing on a news website, anytime one service is using info from another, you can bet there's an API, a waiter, doing all the hard work behind the scenes.
It's basically this constant, standardized conversation happening millions of times a second all over the internet. So when you check the weather, your app's API sends a little message, a request, to the weather service's API saying, hey, what's the forecast for this location? And when you log in with Google, one API is just asking another, can you confirm this person is who they say they are? And Google's API just sends back a simple, yep, they're good.
Okay, so we know what it does, but what does that name, API, actually stand for? Let's break it down, because it's actually going to make a ton of sense now.
It stands for Application Programming Interface. And that interface part is the key. Remember the menu in our restaurant? That's the interface. It's just a set of rules, a contract, that lets two different systems, in this case, two different applications, talk to each other. And this is why APIs are such a game changer for developers. Think about it. Instead of having to build, say, a brand new mapping system from scratch, a developer can just use Google Maps API. It lets people build on top of each other's amazing work, which makes creating new things way faster and way more powerful. So really, if you take one thing away from this, it's this. APIs are like the invisible glue, or maybe the invisible nervous system of the modern internet. They're the reason our digital world feels so connected and just works.
And that kind of leaves us with this one last really cool thought to chew on. We've used APIs to build this amazing interconnected world of software. So what happens when we start giving everything in our physical world an API to talk to each other?